So, oftentimes we don't think about much about improving the simple devices, but improving the simple devices might in some ways help us the most, and especially the devices that we're going to use over and over and over again for very long periods of time because we use them so much. Because each little thing adds up. Maybe if you can just do something a little more easily, it just makes save 1 second out of an hour. If you spend 10,000 hours, that's an hour saved. That's 10,000 seconds saved. That's over an hour. I mean, it could also low amount of waste and stuff like that, because plastic bags or straws and stuff can be a huge component of waste compared to the fancier things. So right here, I want to talk about one of those simple devices, and that's the pencil. So the first thing I want to talk about has already been kind of talked about by a few people. It has kind of been done, and that's a more of a polymer-based pencil. Now, the outer part of a pencil is usually metal or plastic, and plastic is a polymer. Or wood, usually wood or plastic. And wood also is technically polymer, but I'm not counting it here because it's more of the natural stuff. Then the inner lead is actually a graphite clay composite, or in some cases it is a graphite polymer composite. And sometimes they add a little extra stuff, or the graphite is not 100% pure and has more like a charcoal. But I believe the polymer, with using better polymers, we might actually be able to save a lot of stuff and have advances. One is that you could make a polymer that you don't have to mine stuff as much, and or you don't have to cut down trees. The reason why this might be advantageous, and I'm going to go over a couple of things, is that wood is usually excessively strong for what you need. And now there's polymers that are much weaker and cheaper, and they may have less of environmental impact because they're so much not of the same strength quality. They also can be easier to mold and shape with less waste. In the future, we might be able to also get these polymers for the outer casing from more sustainable sources than petroleum, like we do right nowadays from plant waste, bacteria, algae, and it might actually sequester CO2. It also might lead to a lighter pencil, and a lighter pencil will mean that we save a lot of energy if we're transporting large batches of pencils. And it also might be easier to sharpen. This might cause blades and stuff in a way to get dull less fast. Another thing is to replace the polymer instead of clay and inside the pencil thing, which a bunch of pencils already do. But I'm just saying for a more wide one. And in fact, maybe we can make the whole thing just one type of polymer, minus the graphite stuff, and then we could more easily recycle it as just one big chunk of material. Future sources of plastics that might be more sustainable are from plants, bacteria, converting CO2 in other ways into material, or recycling. Another idea I have is to make the inside of the pencil significantly harder than the outside of the pencil. And what this will do is a couple things. One thing is by making the inside significantly harder, you have, in fact, made it so it's kind of self-sharpening. That's because the outsides wear away faster than the inside, so it keeps itself pointier, as the inside stays a little longer, no matter how you hold it. Now, this is not a perfect idea for sharpening, but it might increase it a little bit before one's in between to the sharpener. Now, another idea I have is to make sure that we have better alignment with the pencil with how you write stuff. Now, this is particularly useful for people with bad handwriting, stuff like that. There's a couple ways you could do that. You can work with modifying the shape of the pencil. You can make the pencil bigger. You could also maybe put an outer casing of soft material over harder material, so the grip and make it so it's more grippable, the pencil, and then use that for some stuff there. Also with hardening, I forgot to say, it's the polymers you can harden different ways. So you can make the outer part of the polymer harder than the inside. And if you use the same polymer throughout, you might be able to even use the same technology. So that's some quick ideas right there. One idea that has to do with alignment is to specifically use a triangle shaped pencil. The nice thing about triangular shaped pencils is that they have the ability to better align with fingers naturally when you put your fingers on them instead of a hexagon. Another thing is that triangle shaped pencils can sometimes pack more easily than a hexagon. Now, both hexagons and triangles can pack perfectly, meaning that we can have an alternation of them back and forth. They fit together perfectly. The advantage with triangles is they roll around less in some ways, so they hit each other and fall into place more. They lock into place a little better. Triangles are slightly stronger in some ways, so they can be made with less material. But if you're making a thicker pencil, you might need to have more material for the thicker pencil to help with grip. Yet another idea is to have the main body of the pencil also be an eraser. And having the main body of a pencil also be an eraser means you have more ability just to erase stuff. And also that can be helping with a polymer body. Having the whole pencil be recyclable, and if you have moved the whole pencil may have the same material, that does make it more recyclable. The polymer is definitely more recyclable than wood in those shapes. Also, having a little bit of the graphite impurities in it can still be used in recycled plastic if the plastic has structural purpose. In fact, the carbon might actually give it more strength. Another one is to have a jacket on the pencil that you can move up and down. And we already have grips like this. And the jacket can just add people with extra grip. The jacket could also be something that has a non-stick, non-erasing part that you put on a piece of paper to stop smudging if you lay your pencil down. You could have the jacket also be used as an eraser with part of it to help with erasing. So a couple different uses like that. Another thing you could do is make the pencil in some ways chewy. And when you make the pencil chewy, it'll make it non-toxic. Because a lot of kids tend to chew on things, and that includes pencils. So making it safe and then have to be able to be used in the first place might be a good idea. It also is more common in some so-called brain disorders that they chew on stuff. Another one is to have a non-stick ability put on the pencil, and that means so it doesn't smudge stuff if you lay the pencil on stuff, or doesn't get as dirty as fast. And that might also help lower the chances that it spreads diseases and stuff. So, yet another idea along all these lines is to have an eraser that is more porous and stuff and can handle higher temperatures than the rest of the pencil. And this eraser that you may be able to detach and actually cook in the oven and burn off the polymer and graphite so you can reuse it. And you've got an eraser then that is reusable infinite times. Or you could have one with a solvent that dissolves away that stuff. The solvents might be a little harder to really get rid of everything. Another one is to have a pencil with different parts of the pencil in different darknesses, and then you can use that to when you need light shading or darker shading in a more accurate way for some people. And maybe that is the thing where the insiders are darker than the outsides. So by tilting at different angles, you get different shading. And the inside could be a darker, harder piece of material. We could also maybe do it so that there's a coating around the inner graphite pencil piece to make it a little more durable by adding a little structural strength instead of the inside being harder. It's a thin layer. On the very outside just to protect it from damage. And the last thing is we could have removable, replaceable erasers. So when you run out of eraser, you just put on a new one. So you can customize it for the amount of use you have. Well, thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. It really helps stand out. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a year and 4,000 watch hours, which is really hard, but with your help, I think I can do it. Also, if you have any ideas for future videos, comments, or suggestions, please leave in the comment section below. Again, thank you very much. Goodbye.